All right, pull up a chair because we need to have a real talk about what is going down in Foxboro. I have seen it all in my 60 years, from those freezing days in an empty stadium to standing on top of the world with 6 rings on our fingers. What I am seeing lately has my blood boiling. We are talking about big names that could flip the script on our offense. A kid from the Jags who is popping up on the radar, and a draft gamble that is absolutely jaw-dropping. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, hit that subscribe button. We are pushing for 1,000 subscribers, and I am counting on the ones who actually understand what it means to wear this jersey. The scent of change is in the air, and to me, it smells like an all-pro wideout. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler just dropped a bomb saying the Patriots are the most logical landing spot for A.J. Brown if Howie Roseman decides his time with the Eagles is up. And look, the vibe down in Philly is more unstable than a Massachusetts winter right now. We all know Mike Vrabel and Brown have a history since he drafted the guy back in Tennessee. That foundation of trust is exactly what this offense needs to finally find an aggressive identity. It does not matter if we have Drake May if he does not have a target who will scrap for every single inch of turf. Brown is that guy. He is physical. He is a nightmare to cover. And he plays with that fire in his eyes we got used to seeing during the dynasty years. Now, the price tag is what is making my blood pressure spike. People are talking about the 31st overall pick. Is it steep? Yeah, it is. But tell me this, what is worth more? A draft gamble that could end up being a bust, or a proven playmaker who puts the fear of God into every secondary in the AFC East? Reporter Dave Zangaro says the Eagles are not in a rush, and they want a first-rounder plus maybe more. I would give up that pick without blinking, because we need elite talent ready to go yesterday. Pats Nation is tired of seeing receivers who cannot create an ounce of separation. We need someone who does their job at a premier level. If Roseman wants to haggle, fine. But the Patriots have the cap space and the desperate need to get this done. Thinking about Brown running routes at Gillette gives me a level of hope I have not felt in a long time. He is 28, right in his prime, and under Vrabel, he becomes a weapon of mass destruction. If we want to get back to the mountaintop, we cannot be afraid to spend draft capital on guys who actually produce. This rebuild takes guts, and bringing in a talent of this caliber is the kind of move that separates the contenders from the teams just happy to be there. Let's see if the front office has the stones to close this deal before another team swoops in and takes what should be ours. The tension is building and the clock is ticking. The game never stops, and this rebuild in Foxboro requires keeping our eyes wide open for every opportunity, especially down in the Sunshine State. While everyone in town is obsessing over A.J. Brown, there's a move brewing out of Florida that could be the checkmate for our offense. Dan Graziano and Ben Solak over at ESPN put Brian Thomas Jr., that stud from the Jaguars, right at the top of the trade block. And guess what? The Patriots are sitting there with a 20% chance of landing this kid. I watched him tear it up at LSU and put up a ridiculous rookie year with over 1,200 yards. He is tall. He is fast, and he has that instinct to high-point the ball that we have not seen around here since the Moss era. If Jacksonville is actually considering moving him to recoup draft capital, we need to be first in line with the checkbook open. But hang on. It is not all sunshine and rainbows, and you know I am a tough critic. Thomas Jr. had a weird second year where he led the league in drops. Does that worry me? A little bit. Butterfingers in Foxboro do not last through the first frost, because doing your job requires perfection. But the kid is only 23 years old. The raw talent is undeniable, and that chemistry he had with Lawrence only fell apart because the Jags became a total mess. Imagine this kid lining up opposite Stephon Diggs. Drake May would be grinning from ear to ear, having 2 targets of that quality. We have over $40 million in cap space for 2026. Money is not the issue, it is the mindset. We need people who want to be great under the pressure of wearing the silver and blue. The Jaguars are hurting for draft picks after they traded up for Travis Hunter, and that is where we pounce. The price will be high involving veterans and top-tier picks, but the payoff could be a decade of aerial dominance. Pats Nation knows we're not getting back to the top with middle-of-the-road receivers who just do the bare minimum. Brian Thomas Jr. is the spark we are missing. He is the kind of player who forces an opponent to rewrite their entire game plan. If the front office can swing a fair deal, The duo of May and Thomas Jr. could easily become the most lethal pairing in the NFL for years to come. We need an explosion on offense, and this kid is pure dynamite. Get your hearts ready, because if this deal goes through, Gillette is going to be rocking again. Listen close, because this next bit is enough to make any Patriots fan's hair stand on end. We know Mike Vrabel hit the ground running and took this team to the AFC title game in year one, but our pass rush was an absolute embarrassment. We were the 5th worst team in the league for sacks in 2025. Total disgrace. Now, the latest mock draft from A to Z Sports suggests that at pick 31, the Patriots might grab Cashious Howell, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. The kid is a sack machine with over 11 last season, and he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. On paper, he looks like exactly what we need in Foxboro to help Barmore out on that line. But here is where the reality check hits hard. Howell has a physical red flag that is driving analysts crazy, since his arms are tiny for the position. We are talking 30¼ inches. If he gets picked in the first round, he will have the shortest arms of any defensive lineman ever taken that high in history. That is a massive gamble. Short arms against those giant NFL tackles? I do not know if my heart can take that bet. In this league, leverage is everything. If a guy cannot get his hands on the blocker first, he is just a passenger on the field. We cannot afford to burn a first-round pick on someone who might get bullied physically. On the flip side, the guy just produces. He has a nose for the ball that reminds me of the glory days of our blue-collar defense. He bends the edge like nobody's business, and his get-off at the snap is terrifying. The question we have to ask is whether today's Patriots under Vrabel believe in the system enough to think they can hide a physical limitation like that. It is an all-or-nothing bet. If it works, we have a new legend. If it fails, we just threw away a chance to solidify a team that was one step away from the Super Bowl. The future of our defense is on the line, and this decision at 31 is going to set the tone for the entire rebuild. It is make or break, and the risk is sky high. It is all or nothing, everyone. And the clock in Foxboro does not wait for anyone. We have seen A.J. Brown knocking at the door, Brian Thomas Jr. as a dangerous possibility, and this wild draft risk with Howell. There's no middle ground in this Patriots rebuild. Either we build a squad that puts fear back into the AFC, or we are going to be watching the Super Bowl from the couch for a long time. The weight of those 6 Lombardis demands that every move is surgical and that a winning mentality becomes our only rule again. Drop a comment below, because this space belongs to everyone who believes in doing their job. Our story is still being written, and I will not settle for anything less than the top.